6 for Paris Jackson, 2nd and 4, and there's a completion to O'Neal Wilson. Back-to-back completions for Travis Lulay and a first down up at the 49.
Yeah, and good play calling by Jacques Chapdelaine there to get that first play, the first throw for Travis Lulay on the short hitch pass just before we changed quarters. Now this is into his comfort zone as well, into one of his strengths, which is to throw on the run, and that's a tough throw to make. Travis Lulay running to his left and throwing back across his body.
Better spot than I gave him credit for up at the 51, first down. A.J. Harris. And Harris to midfield has 4.
You know, in the preseason, Lulay threw the ball deep quite well, and sooner or later he's going to have to try and back these defensive backs up off the receivers. The way you do that is to throw the ball deep and tell them and send that message that you're willing to do it. Now, I wouldn't do it against Javon Johnson. Maybe go to Keyu Craver's side, but sooner or later they're going to have to take a couple of shots.
And sooner or later, you think they have to go to 81. G-Roy Simon, who's been red hot in the last couple of weeks. Lulay hooks up with Arsenault, who got tripped up.
Good call.
And a penalty marker on the play.
Yeah, Ike Charlton was over there yelling, good call. You can see number 0 clapping there. And I think what they're going to call is a rub or a pick play here. Or at least it could be called that way. It depends on who did the pushing, but Emmanuel Arsenault opened up. I believe it was G-Roy Simon, a little combination route between he and Simon.
Illegal interference, blocking downfield before the ball was caught. BC number 81. It's a 10-yard penalty. We repeat, second down.
And it is G-Roy Simon.
Yeah, and it's basically a rub or a pick play as G-Roy Simon right here. He's going to come inside, and Arsenault comes from the opposite side, number 84, and watch how he just creates some interference right across the middle there, so Ike Charlton can't track him across the field. The refs picked it up, and that's a good call.
So it makes it 2nd and 16. 4-man rush. Lulay stands in. And Simon hit immediately by Ike Charlton.
Travis Lulay had good protection there up front. He 4-man pressure, and he had a chance to really scan the field, but the coverage downfield was real good. The deep crossing route to Paris Jackson, who's back in the lineup, was maybe his only option around first down territory. And you can see he had plenty of time. It's a little bit jumpy in that pocket, and that's justifiable.
So Paul McCallum now with the breeze at his back and drops this down at the 12. Javon Johnson tripped up immediately, and there's Jason Araki. There is a flag on the play. We'll sort it out when we come back.
Sharp it safely
on that punt return, and the Bombers backed up at their 7. Jason Araki had the special teams tackle, number 32 in the league. He is the leader in that department. And not much on the ground available there for Fred Reed.
You know what? A lot of people have been talking about of late, or this 3-game winning streak for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, is how Michael Bishop has thrown the ball over those 3 games. 61% of his passes completed. And you can see the average in yards per game, and most importantly, the touchdown to interception ratio. In the back-to-back Labor Day games and then Montreal, those 3 alone, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers turned the ball over 18 times. And we're in a real tailspin. It's changed over the last 3 weeks.
2nd and long from his end zone. It's intercepted, and it's a quick 6 for the BC Lions.
And Michael Bishop does not want to change back to that back-to-back Labor Day interception problem that he had, throwing 5 in back-to-back games there. And this one, just a ball he never should have let go of, because sitting outside, Dante Marsh was well inside in coverage there. And with pressure in his face. Michael Bishop threw it without really looking to the outside. It was not McKay Loescher that was right up in Bishop's face. That caused a quick throw, and Marsh says thank you very much and takes it to the house.
Yes, his second of the season, Dante Marsh, just the 16th for the Lions. You look at that secondary, you think ball hawks, but they have not been able to come close to the Bomber production, but that's a big defensive touchdown to get BC back in it.
One thing, and I talked to a lot of the guys in the secondary here, and Dante Marsh playing outside on that corner. You know, I talked to a lot of guys in the secondary for the Lions who told me, you know, they respect the arm strength of Michael Bishop, and you could see what Marsh did there. He dropped his deep receiver, cut underneath that out. They respect his arm strength. They know what he's done over the last 3 games. They also know that he's going to throw a couple up, even if he sees coverage. They may have some opportunities. Dante Marsh takes advantage. Michael Bishop, though, if he eats this one, he knows he may take a safety, but he's going to have not McKay Loescher in his face. He's got to throw that one out of bounds. Or even take the sack and the safety. He's better than that.
14th interception tossed by Bishop, who threw a couple in the end zone last week in Hamilton, or that game might have been even more lopsided. The Lions get a defensive touchdown to get back in it. Javon Johnson up to the 29. Anton McKenzie led the cover team downfield.
You mentioned Javon Johnson and his returning, and you know his average for the punt returns has been just under 9 yards per return. 3-game winning streak for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He has 192 yards in punt returns, 360 yards over that time in kickoff returns. Has there been a better overall defensive player and special teams player in the league than Javon Johnson over the last 3-4 weeks?
Absolutely not.
No.
Been a star. Let's see what the offense for Winnipeg does. And Brett Reed has stopped in his tracks. There's Steve Williams in his 4th start at defensive tackle, and Javi Glatt in support.
You know, they've improved, Chris, and as I apologize, they've improved on their run defense. Last 2 weeks, the BC Lions simplified things. They really went back to basics in run defense, and Steve Williams has come and get a rest on the sideline. But Mike Benavides simplified things, and in the last 2 weeks, they've given up less than 50 yards per game along the ground.
A more traditional defense against the run. Michael Bishop does get away. Now looks deep, and that one, closest man to it was Ryan Phillips as it falls incomplete.
And that's what I'm talking about. That was a very similar situation for Bishop as the interception he just threw a second ago, except for this time he throws it out of bounds and he'll put his punt team on the field. He felt pressure, he was on the run, and this time he just says, you know what, I'm just going to throw it as far as I can, which for Michael Bishop can be 70-80 yards, and throw it out of harm's way. Phillips almost tracked it down.
Heat from Aaron Hunt and later Javi Glatt. And suddenly the Lions are right back in it. Short kick, but it got by Bryce Mullen. And we'll have to go back and get it at the 42. Well, that was a strange one and a good bounce for Alexis Cerna. Back in Winnipeg, let's join Sean Churchill.
Thank you very much, Chris. The comeback player of the year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers could be Alexis Cerna. A year ago, he struggled just to make 50% of his field goals. This year, he's near the top of the CFL, and he credits Mike Kelly. It's a completely different philosophy when it comes to the place kicking. Kelly is a little more relaxed than Doug Barry was a year ago, and the numbers are proving it. Guys?
With regards to the kicker, a little more relaxed is an understatement with how Doug Barry treated his kickers.
On a reverse by Bryce Mullen, and Javon Johnson wasn't fooled.
Well, this is where we find out what Travis Lulay is capable of. He's playing against a very good secondary, a confident secondary led by Javon Johnson. Now he's got to take control, take the reins of this offense, and prove to Wally Buono that he should be number 2. You know, Casey Printers is breathing down both the quarterbacks' necks really right now. And he's got to prove in these situations, 2nd and 10, that he can move this football team.
Number 1 hasn't taken a snap, but his return to BC looking more and more like a good move by Wally Buono. 2nd and 10, and Lule. Anybody home? He'll take off and get to the stick, and more. Still going, and now will step out untouched. So Travis Lule shows you he can take off and run with the football.
You know, and he's learned from his limited playing time already, which is a great sign. And what I mean by that is in the Toronto game, he did a lot of this. He got a chance to play in that game. And he did a lot of running of the football, and he was taking the hits, and he was trying to show the coaching staff, I think, a little bit how tough he was as a quarterback. Well, he makes a great decision at this end of this play. Picks up good yardage when he has the opening, and then steps out of bounds to avoid the hit.
I'd be surprised. Sadiq Shabazz with that speed. Now A.J. Harris straight ahead, and he's forced back Doug Brown and Dorian Smith, the interior of that Winnipeg front, with the stop.
Well, you see that Lule run, and now you go back to this play with A.J. Harris, and when you can see that speed, and you talk about the defense maybe not understanding how fast Travis Lule is, he comes out here on the fake after they give it to Harris right there. This is a play that they can build on. They give it to him here, and Lule comes in the fake on the bootleg. If he's got that kind of speed, he can keep the ball in that situation.
He joined us late. Buck Pierce injured on the 2nd Lions offensive series of the game. Lule guns it. It's complete. Another 1st down. And that one was impressive to G. Roy Simon, first catch of the day.
It was, because it was coverage. First of all, G. Roy Simon had good coverage on him. He's the slot back coming on that inside route. It's called a dig route because he goes down the field and he digs it right across the middle in a 90-degree cut. But there was coverage close to him in Lenny Walls. But the confidence in the throw was the key to the success of the play. Lule steps in and throws it done.
17 for the hero last week at Commonwealth. 1st down. Lule play action. End zone. O'Neal Wilson can't catch up to it. Javon Johnson on his hip.
And there's what I was mentioning is when he runs once and shows the defense in Winnipeg that kind of speed, now he fakes it here to A.J. Harris, takes it outside. The only thing is, Odell Willis was not fooled on the play. But he was the only Bomber defender not fooled.
Lule does have a swagger, and he does have the respect of his offensive teammates. 2nd and 10. Short drop, steps up, takes off, and he'll be dropped at the 5-yard line, and that'll be a
decision.
Yard short, maybe a 1.5 yards to 2.
Decision time for Wally Buono. And Lule's trying to sell it. He's trying to say it's only about a yard.
Yeah, but it's over 2, considering it's been marked at the 6. They've got to get just inside the 4.
Oh, they did mark it back a yard. That's right. So now it's 2 yards, and that really takes the decision away. You got to kick the field goal here, take the points, and a positive drive.
It certainly was. And McCallum will try a 13-yarder to get a little closer. And now it's 14-10. 10 straight points for the Lions. Well, we mentioned there've been a lot of talking this week. Ricky Foley and Doug Brown.
Yes, well, before the game, back in August, between these two teams, the BC Lions came out in warm-up and did a WWE kind of gesture towards the Winnipeg bench.
Here's Javon Johnson. And Tad Crawford will take him down at about the 35-yard line.
So what they did is they came out, they were all excited, and they did this thing in a little V with their arms or something, and Doug Brown took exception to it. In his column that he writes weekly here in Winnipeg, he wrote about it. The league looked at it as well, didn't think it was appropriate, and it wasn't. Wally Buono fined the team. Ricky Foley this week brought it up again. to continue with the sort of war of words between them. And yes, there was a response from Doug Brown.
Michael Bishop to hinge, and notice Amy can't hang on. Was a forward pass, so incomplete. And here's what Ricky Foley had to say about the Doug Brown column and the fact it cost him $75.
That's right. It cost the entire team. It was a crybaby article. He went against the code. He took the time to sit down, write, bang it out, proofread it, edit it, and complain like a baby. Well, of course, when the reporters got that quote, they went right to Doug Brown's locker stall. Said, here's exactly what Foley said. Do you have a response?
2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz. Michael Bishop heaving it downfield, and that will fall incomplete as Dante Marsh was in coverage without his aiming.